I'm Dhruti Yatri, you're watching TimesXP and welcome to the top US news today. During a recent event at the White House, US President Donald Trump made headlines again, but this time not for policy announcements but for an unexpected joke. While unveiling two massive 88-foot flagpoles that he personally gifted to the White House, Trump turned to a group of construction workers standing nearby and suddenly asked, "Any illegal migrant over here?" Well, the moment was caught on camera, and while some workers chuckled and shook their head, the question left many people stunned. Trump said in a joking tone, but given his strict immigration policies in the past, the comment sparked serious discussion. Just days before that, a reporter had asked Trump about his plans for deporting undocumented migrants. After that, Trump replied by saying, "We are taking them out by the thousands," adding that many of them are involved in crimes and they are mentally unstable. Then, in front of the workers and the media, Trump continued, "If there were, any illegal migrant over here, we'll find out. Your whole life will be destroyed because of this press conference." Although he said it with a smile, the comment reminded people of how aggressive his administration has been when it comes to immigration enforcement. He did try to reassure the workers, saying that "Don't worry, I think you are going to be okay." But by then, the damage was done. People on social media and in the news started questioning whether it's inappropriate to joke about something as serious as immigration status, specifically when people's lives and their families are affected. The event wasn't even about migration to begin with. It was a flagpole installation ceremony. Trump was proud of the new flagpoles, describing them as tall, rust-proof, and top quality. He said that they were always missing from the White House and hoped that they would stay there for many years. But behind the light moment, there's a much bigger story that is unfolding. Trump has recently told the US immigration officers to get ready for what he's calling the biggest mass deportation in the US history. He wants them to focus on big cities like Los Angeles, Chicago, and New Delhi, where many undocumented migrants live. Well, this moment at the flagpole ceremony may have been meant as a joke, but for millions of immigrants, specifically the undocumented ones, Trump's return to the spotlight and his harsh words are anything but funny. A Telugu student from India, Kiran Rabarthu, aged 26 years, has been arrested in Texas, the United States of America, for shoplifting glasses worth $560. The incident happened on June 15, 2025 at a Sunglass Hut store in the Houston Premium Outlet. The arrest was made by officers from the Harris County Constable's Office, and unfortunately, photos of Kiran in handcuffs has now been widely shared on social media. The police department posted a very strong warning online saying that anybody who steals from shop in this area will be caught and arrested. In this particular case, the staff at the store informed the police that Kiran had taken the sunglasses and left the store without paying. Officers found him quickly, recovered the sunglasses, and arrested him on the spot. His bond was set at just $100, but the damage of his reputation and future is far more serious. This isn't the very first time that something like this has happened. In the past years, several Indian students, including girls, have been caught stealing in the US and their arrest videos went viral. Well, these incidents just don't bring shame to the students, but also their families and the entire country. Indian students are among the brightest in the US universities. Most come from hardworking families, spend years of hard work, rupees in lakhs, and dreams of a better future. But one careless, foolish act like this can destroy it all in seconds. In the US, even small crimes are taken seriously. Theft, even of a pair of sunglasses, goes on to a permanent record and can ruin visa status, job opportunities, and even chances of settling in the country. Many don't really realize how strict the American legal system really is, specifically for the non-citizens. Now, this is a wake-up call for all the students who are watching this video. Indian students need to understand that nothing is worth risking their future abroad. I have a big news. If you are an Indian family who is living in the United States on an H1B visa and planning to visit to India with your pregnant spouse who holds an H4 visa, you may be wondering, will returning to the US cause any problem because of pregnancy? The good news is no. Being pregnant is not a reason to deny entry into the US. Immigration officers at the airport mainly check your visa status, whether your trip was temporary, and if you plan to return to your normal life in the US after the visit. So, for most Indian couples, re-entry after a trip to India goes smoothly if all the documents are in order. Still, officers may ask a few basic questions like, how long have you been away? Why have you traveled? Or if you have any plan to return to the work. In such cases, it helps to be calm and give consistent answers. This simply shows that your trip was short and you fully intend to continue your stay legally in the US. Now, here's what can help you. Carry pregnancy-related medical documents such as doctor's note, parental checkup records, or a letter confirming that the pregnancy is healthy. These papers can reassure officers that your wife is being looked after properly and that you're not entering the US just to take advantage of medical services. Sometimes immigration checks may take a little longer when somebody is visibly pregnant, but this is usually a formality, not a problem. Now, from an Indian perspective, it's also really wise to keep all important documents organized like H1B, H4 visa, and passports, marriage certificate, address proof from the US, and proof of the employment. All these help show that you are settled in the US, you're not planning to overstay illegally, and you are returning to continue your normal life. Many Indian families have had similar trips during pregnancy and returned to the US without any trouble. Problems usually happen only if there are gaps in paperwork or if somebody gives confusing answers during questioning, not because of pregnancy. So basically, in short, pregnancy itself is not a problem at US immigration. Just be very honest, carry the right documents, and stay confident. Indian students in the United States have been living in constant fear and confusion. Over the past few years, rules for student visas become really strict. Interviews at US embassies were suspended without any clear answers, and even minor mistakes could get visas cancelled. Many Indian students were left feeling unwanted and unsure if they could ever complete their education or stay and work in the US afterwards. But now Trump is saying something totally different. He recently admitted that America is losing out by forcing talented students, specifically from India and China, to leave after graduation. He pointed out how many of these students return home and start big companies, even billion-dollar startups, which could have been built in America if they were allowed to stay. He even said that companies like Apple are struggling to hire these smart graduates because of visa issues. This sudden support feels like a complete U-turn, right? In his earlier term, Trump had tightened immigration policies. In fact, in this term also, in the very start, he made it harder to get work visas like H1B and cancelled many student visas over technical issues. And now, he is saying something very different. He is saying that he is supporting Indian students. Many are finding it hard to believe. In fact, thousands of Indian students are already looking at other countries like Canada, Australia, or even Germany, places where immigration rules are more stable and welcoming. Even though Trump now says that he has always supported foreign students, the fact from his past decisions tells a very different story. Now, for Indian students, this new statement feels like a little too much, but too late. Without solid guarantees and clear policies, most feel really uncertain about staying in the US under his leadership. If you are in the United States on an H1B visa and you have recently lost your job, you are definitely not alone. Thousands of H1B workers, many from India and other countries too, face job losses due to layoffs, company closures, or even reconstructing. But don't panic, there are options available that you can act fast on and stay informed. The United States government through USCIS provides a 60-day grace period for most non-immigrant workers like H1B holders. This means that if your job ends, whether you quit it or you laid off, you have 60 calendar days to fix out your next move before you're considered out of status. Now, this grace period starts from your latest paycheck date, not necessarily your last working day. So, the question is, what can you do during these 60 days? Well, you have several options. A. Find a new job and transfer your H1B. You can find a new employer willing to sponsor you. You can file Form I-129 on your behalf. Once the new application is filled, you're allowed to start working immediately. Well, this is great because you don't have to wait weeks for approval to start earning again. Second, switch to another visa or apply for a status change. If you're unable to find a new H1B job in time, you can apply to change your visa status. For example, some people switch to a tourist visa to stay legally while they continue job hunting. Others may apply for a student visa if they want to pursue further studies. You can also apply for a compelling circumstances EAD, that is a work permit in a very rare case, but this is usually harder to get approved. Third, adjustment of status. If you are in a relationship with a US citizen or somebody applying for a green card, you might be eligible to file for adjustment of status depending on your case. This is more complex and depends heavily on your circumstances. It's very important to understand that if you do have nothing during the 60-day grace period, you can be forced to leave the US. You must either have a petition filed on your behalf or submit your own change of status application. Otherwise, you have to leave the country either after your grace period ends or when your I-94 expires, whichever comes first. Now, what if you're already outside the US when your job ends? Well, in that case, the grace period doesn't apply unless you return before your notice period collapses. If you're working in the United States on a visa like H1B, specifically in the tech industry, you may feel unsure about your future, specifically with news about ICE raids, visa delays, and even people being stopped at the border. But here's the good news. Your employer can now help. And if you're a company hiring foreign talent, there are clear steps to support these workers legally, emotionally, and professionally. Right now, with immigration rules changing frequently, specifically under political pressure, many highly skilled workers feel unsafe, even though they are working legally. In fact, over 40% of America's top startups were founded by immigrants, and many tech giants rely on foreign-born talent. But fear, uncertainty, and even the threat of being denied re-entry after international travel has made things harder. The first and most important rule for companies is simple: follow the law properly. This means making sure all immigration paperwork is up to date and accurate, like H1B petition, job titles, salary records, and work locations. If a worker changes their role, hours, or even their office location, they must inform the authorities. Even small changes matter. Now, failing to adapt this can put the worker's visa at risk. Many workers don't realize that they can accidentally break visa rules. For example, working another job on the side, that's moonlighting, is not allowed for H1B holders unless the second employer also files a petition. It may seem harmless, but it's a very serious violation. Also, if ICE shows up, even in tech offices, workers need to know their rights. A. Don't speak without a lawyer. B. Don't sign anything, and always keep original visa documents with you. Companies can do a lot to help, by the way. They can offer free legal support, make sure HR teams are trained, and provide copies of important visa documents to employees. They can even hold short info sessions to explain how immigration works and how changes can affect these workers. Being honest with workers about the green card process, which can take up 5 to 10 years, is also very important. It builds extra trust and makes team really strong. Now, some companies also tell their H1B employees to avoid international travel unless it's urgent, because sudden visa policy change or any type of change can make your re-entry really hard, even for those who have lived and worked in the US for years. Now, beyond legal help, good employers care about their team's well-being. Many are offering counseling, support groups, and resources for those who are facing stress about their immigration status. That's it for today. Thanks for tuning in, and follow TimesXP for more such episodes.